tragedy can arrive like a thunderclap, unexpected, loud, and forever changing the landscape of a life. One moment, a couple is planning tomorrow's adventure, the next, hospitals hum with machines and faces that wait for news. This is the story that shocked fans across America and beyond. American pickers Mike Wolfe and his girlfriend, Letitia Klein, hospitalized after a serious car accident. It's a headline that feels too raw to process, and behind it is a human story of love, of hard work, of fans who feel like family. Today, we're going to walk through everything we know, remember who these two are and why so many care, and reflect on what it means when life flips in an instant. This video is not about sensationalism. It's a moment to pause, to reflect, to send good energy, and to remember that the people we admire are people first, vulnerable, beloved, and sometimes, in need of our compassion. Stay with me through this journey. We'll start with who Mike Wolfe is, then meet Letitia Klein as more than a name in headlines. We'll look at the accident in careful, respectful terms, share the outpouring of support that followed, and close with a message of hope and solidarity. If you're a longtime fan or new to their story, I hope this narrative brings context, heart, and an honest look at how communities rally in hard times. Who is Mike Wolfe? To millions, he's the face behind American Pickers, a show that did more than entertain. It turned the country's forgotten basements, barns, and garages into a canvas of American memory. Mike's curiosity is contagious. When he finds a rusty sign or a battered motorcycle, he's not just seeing metal and paint, he's reading a life. That's the core of why fans love him. He reminds us that objects carry stories and that ordinary people are the keepers of extraordinary pasts. From the show's early days, Mike came across as authentic. He wasn't manufactured for television. He was the kind of person you'd meet at a roadside flea market who would sit with you for an hour to talk about the history of a pickup truck or the people who once owned a jukebox. He championed small towns, helped preserve artifacts that might otherwise have been discarded, and bridged generations by telling stories aloud. Over the years, audiences grew attached not just to the antiques he rescued, but to Mike's warmth, humor, and vulnerability. But Mike's life off camera is a person's life full of highs and lows, of love and complexity. The fans who followed him know that he's been open about the people who matter to him, about his roots, and about the value he places on human connection. That's what made news of his hospitalization especially jarring. A man who often reminds us of life's enduring things suddenly reminded us of life's fragility. Enter Letitia Klein. She's not just Mike Wolfe's girlfriend. Letitia is a spirited, dynamic woman with her own story of reinvention, adventure, and tenacity. Model, television personality, motorcycle enthusiast, and entrepreneur, Letitia built a public persona with grit and curiosity. She's known for taking risks on the racetrack, in business, and in life. Her social media shows a woman who loves speed, exploration, and authenticity. She's also been a visible presence in communities that celebrate independence and empowerment. For fans, seeing Letitia and Mike together often felt like witnessing two adventurous spirits who complemented one another. When they appeared side by side, it wasn't just chemistry and charisma, it was mutual respect. They reminded people that love can look like partnership in pursuing bold interests, whether that's seeking a rare collectible or riding across the country on a motorcycle. And that's why the news of their accident felt personal to so many. These were people who had inspired countless others to lean into what they love. So what happened? Reports confirmed that Mike Wolfe and Letitia Klein were involved in a serious car accident that resulted in both being hospitalized. The specifics, who was driving, the exact location, weather conditions, or whether other vehicles were involved, have been shared in varying amounts across outlets. Out of respect for privacy and accuracy, we won't dwell on unverified detail. What is clear is that the crash was severe enough to cause immediate medical attention and concern from fans, colleagues, and the media. The focus now is recovery and support, not rumor. In the hours after the news broke, the internet became a noisy cathedral of concern, fans posting photos from old meet and greets, quoting favorite lines, and pleading for good news. The response was immediate and human. For many, Mike had been a fixture on weekend television, a familiar face that felt like comfort. For others, Letitia's bravery and independence had been a beacon. Social media filled with prayers, supportive messages, and people sharing stories of how these two had personally impacted them. In times like this, the the virtual world showed a rare softness, strangers becoming a network of support overnight. From the perspective of community response, there are two movements that matter. One is the public outpouring, thousands of messages sending love and strength. The other is the quieter, more powerful force, people taking action offline. Followers checked on local blood drives, organized care for families, sent food, and reached out to mutual friends who might be able to assist. Those practical acts embody how fandom turns into human kindness when tragedy strikes. We also have to talk about the emotional anatomy of an event like this, the fear, the helplessness, the sudden recollection of every what if we've ever said. Many of us have experienced driving home from a normal day and suddenly realizing how precarious everything can be. That's why celebrity accidents touch such a raw nerve. We see our own vulnerability reflected in other people's lives. Mike and Letitia's accident becomes a mirror. It asks us to consider our own attachments, to dial a parent or send a message to someone we love. It shifts our priorities for a moment from the trivial to the vital. There's another thread running through this story: resilience. Both Mike and Letitia have shown tenacity across their careers. Mike's passion for preserving Americana meant new challenges with every episode, every negotiation, and every restoration. Letitia's trailblazing into spaces that aren't always welcoming to women, especially in the motorcycling world, speaks to a capacity for courage and recovery. Those same traits are what fans and friends are now holding on to as they envision a path forward. Medical recovery from a major accident is rarely linear. It's a landscape of small victories, an afternoon of less pain, a week with clearer scans, a conversation with a loved one where a laugh returns. It's also the tough days when progress seems slow and patience is tested. For their circle, the days ahead will demand endurance, both physically and emotionally. For us, as supporters from afar, the best role we can play is respectful witness, sending good wishes, not intrusive questions, sharing messages of hope, not speculation. In the history of television and fandom, we've seen communities rally with practical support. Fundraisers appear, benefit shows pop up, and the spirit of togetherness often translates to tangible help. If Mike and Letitia need that kind of support, and if their families approve, there will likely be organized efforts to help with medical expenses, rehabilitation, or basic household needs while they recover. For many fans, that's a way to do something constructive instead of feeling powerless. So what does support look like in practice? It can look like a kind message on social media, a donation to an approved fund, a respectful pause in speculation while medical teams do their work, or simply keeping the couple in our thoughts. The power of empathy is often underestimated. When someone is healing, the knowledge that people care is a balm that helps make the hard days slightly more bearable. We also need to take this moment to reflect on the unpredictability of life. Mike Wolf and Letitia Klein's path could have been any path, today's routine could have been tomorrow's loss. For those of us watching from a distance, the lesson is to be mindful. Hug the people you love. Make that call. Don't wait for an emergency to tell someone they matter. Life's fragility can be a teacher for how we live our small, daily lives. Now, a note on how the media covers such events. There's always a tension between the public's right to know and the individual's right to privacy. Responsible outlets focus on verified updates from representatives and medical spokespeople, and they avoid speculation about blame or lurid details. As viewers and content creators, we have a role to play in fostering ethical coverage. We amplify facts, not rumors, we honor families' requests for privacy, and we avoid turning suffering into content. This video respects that boundary. While waiting for updates, many fans are finding ways to celebrate the work these two have done. People are revisiting their favorite American Pickers episodes, sharing clips of Mike's most memorable finds, and posting photos of Letitia's motorcycle adventures. It's a gentle, communal remembering and online vigil that keeps their public work alive while sending private energy for their recovery. It's also worth thinking about the ripple effects of such incidents. When public figures encounter setbacks, their networks of friends and co-workers often reprioritize resources, raise awareness about safety, and sometimes spark conversations about road safety and responsible driving. Perhaps out of this pain, there will be a renewed focus on preventing future accidents, whether through improved public awareness, protective equipment, or simply better planning. As we edge toward a close, Let us hold an image of what recovery can be, not a dramatic overnight recovery, but a slow, dignified climb. Picture small victories, waking with less pain, a first walk down a hospital corridor, a message of thanks read aloud to loved ones. Picture community standing nearby, not in the intrusive way of headlines but in quiet generosity. Picture fans sending postcards and cherished memories as tokens of support. Picture these two, Mike and Letitia, drawing on their resilience, on each other, and on a network of care while they take whatever steps are necessary to heal. If you're watching this and you've been touched by their story, consider doing one small thing right now. Send a positive message, take a moment to reach out to someone you love, or set aside a moment to reflect on what matters. These small acts of compassion build a world that can cradle people in times of need. In closing, let's be honest, the world can be cruelly abrupt. But human hearts are stubbornly kind. When the unexpected falls on people we love, celebrities or neighbors, we discover the depth of our shared humanity. Mike Wolfe and Letitia Klein are not just names in a headline, they are storytellers, adventurers, and people with families and fans who care. Right now, that love is being returned to them in a powerful tide of support. We will continue to share verified updates as their representatives or medical teams make them available. For now, our best and most meaningful role is to wish them strength, to respect their privacy, and to stand ready to help in ways that heal rather than harm. Send a thought, make a call, hug someone close to you, and if you pray, include Mike and Letitia in your prayers tonight.